In today's video, I'm going to be tanning a sheepskin for the first time. The animals in my care really mean a lot to me, and to show respect for their lives, I don't want to waste anything. I've had this skin in this tub for a couple of weeks. Now, to be able to do that, I had to salt the underside just so none of the flesh would rot in the meantime. Now, I've just had these sticks in here just to keep the skin out of any moisture that's collected at the bottom. So today we're going to take the skin out. I'm going to shake off what I can with the salt and then rinse it off. Now this is my driveway, lots of weeds, so it doesn't matter if the salt kills off some of this. I'm going to brush off what I can salt-wise into this tub first, then spread out my skin here before rinsing. The fleshing process kind of removes all this fatty area. So today we're going to rinse it off and we're going to keep it moist. We're not going to dry it out too much because it's easier to flesh the skin when it's a bit damp. With that all rinsed off now, I'm just going to leave it here on this pallet to dry off. While my sheepskin's drying, I think I'll just remove the bits that I don't want. Saves having to deal with them in the fleshing process, and you don't have to cut those bits of fat off. Any trimmings I'm just going to add to my compost. Okay, it's dried off fairly well, so I'm going to take it over to where I've made a fleshing stand. I've made this fleshing beam just with a fencing post that I had lying around. I did kind of strap together these, but they were never going to be strong enough to hold it, so I've put them under it anyway. But I do have just a little sawhorse from the garage that I have supported this big beam with. So I'm hoping that holds while I flesh this skin. Okay, I've never done this before, but I have seen that you need to just put the pressure downwards. Don't go sideways because you're likely to cut into your hide, which you don't want to do. And you just kind of reposition the skin when you need to kind of do like that part there. And you don't saw, you just push down. So I think those spots are probably too deep, so I won't do that. So I will just get kind of this stuff off here and this stuff off here. All right, there we go. And that's got that bit off. So I don't think I need to go any further. That's probably too deep there. So I've just got to be a bit more careful just to get the flesh and the fatty bits off, and then you can deal with the membrane later. And I can cut that bit off at the end. Okay, that bit's off. The edges can be a bit thinner than the middle, so again, they say to be careful there. Oops, see, just ripped that one because it's quite thin at the edge. So I'll leave that bit. I think I need to have this a bit flatter than what I've been doing. But with the salted skin, there's no smell to this at all because you've kind of preserved it with the salt. So it's not unpleasant. The unpleasant part's taking this off the knife. There we go. It's quite satisfying getting a bit like that off. Might just cut that bit off. Now I've mostly done around the edges, although at the end I will go through and just make sure I've trimmed all the fatty bits. I'm now just working on the middle and trying to just get these little fatty bits off. Just kind of got to get it around the right way to work it. I'm still kind of finding my way with getting it off well and not cutting through the hide. So I'm going a bit more carefully than what I might in future. See, I've already cut through there. Now I think I've kind of done the job. I'm just going to put it down onto this pallet and just go round the edges and make sure that all the really fatty bits have been cut off. See, just any sort of fatty bits like that's what I'm going to get off here. It was a bit hard at the edges. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to just take this off and give it a bit of a wash before we start the tanning process. This is just some warm water. I'm going to add in just a wool wash and give this fleece a couple of hours totally submerged in here, and hopefully we'll get it a bit cleaner than what it is now. I'm not going to agitate it too much, just get it all under. And you can see how dirty that water is already. These fleeces really collect a lot of dirt. I'm going to start with the tanning of the skin. But first I'm going to just tip out the rest of this liquid in here. Just having a look at the skin, I'm just going to flesh it a little bit more. Some people use a sharp instrument just to score the membrane, but I don't have anything that's suitable. So I'm just going to do a bit more fleshing just to make sure that the membrane's broken up enough to let the tanning solution soak into the skin and do its job. Just given it a final rinse off, and I think we're ready to go into the tanning solution now. The tanning solution, according to the YouTube channel that I watched, and I'll leave a link to that in the description, is 5 kilo of salt, 500 gram of aluminium sulfate, and you add in 20 litres of water. Now I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir around to get it all dissolved. Now I'm just covering up. The aluminium, I believe, is a bit of an irritant, so you don't want to get too much of that on you or breathe it in really. All right. Now we leave the skin in the tanning solution for, I think it's 7 to 10 days. And you just need to give it a bit of an agitation twice a day in that period. So I'll get the lid on and we can leave that now. The sheepskin has been in this solution for about a week, so it's time to take it out. I'm going to just transfer it to this tub here and take it to rinse it off. I'm going to rinse it once again out in the driveway so that the solution's not affecting my grass in the backyard. It'll only affect the driveway. I'll just give it a couple of rinses and then we let it dry for a bit. I'm just going to place this sheepskin fleece side down on this little frame just to dry for an hour or so before we start brushing it out. The skin's been sitting out on that little rack for about an hour. It's still pretty wet, all the fleece, but I can brush it out. I've just got a little dog brush, which hopefully will do the trick, and hopefully not too much of this fleece will come out. Some of it will, but hopefully it mostly stays in. Little bits can come out, but that's okay as long as not big patches fall out at this point. Actually, I might put it flat onto the concrete, might make this job a bit easier. If you're going to do this, try and get yourself a really sturdy brush. This is one that I already had in the cupboard, so I didn't want to just go out and buy another one, but it's really not up to it. These little pins are pushing into the cushion and not as good as it could be. So I'll probably be looking to get another brush for future fleeces, but we're slowly getting there. It kind of gets out some more of the vegetable matter that's sort of stuck in the fleece and gets a few of these knotty bits out. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm just going to take the opportunity just to trim just that end a little bit so it's a bit more uniform. That's a bit better there. And just this little bit here is sort of a bit out of shape. All right. Okay, I'm going to get it onto this frame here, and then what we need to do is an egg wash on the skin itself. This is 4 egg yolks in 2 cups of water, so about 500 ml of water, and you just kind of smear that all on. Now you do that while it's still damp, which it definitely is. Now that the egg wash is on, I'm just going to leave it on this rack to dry for a bit. The skin has been drying for some time now, so we're ready to move on to stretching, which makes the skin soft and pliable and not stiff. I've done a little test run there, and you've actually just got to stretch it out, and it kind of goes a bit whiter. You can see there the difference between that unstretched and this little bit here that has been stretched. So you've just got to kind of keep doing it right around. You can see there it all starts to go white, so you just kind of keep stretching it and you just work around until you've done it all. A bit more challenging in the middle. If it's not turning white, then it mightn't be dry enough for this step. So there's some sections that don't seem to be turning as white as easily, so they might just need a bit more drying out, I believe, like in the middle here. And you keep going with that until it's completely dry. My sheepskin has all dried out now. It did take a while to dry out, and it was going really slowly outside, so I moved it inside, and I kept stretching it all the time while it was outside, but as soon as I got it in, I forgot all about it and was distracted with these two. Hello, Rusty. Evie. You have to keep stretching it all the way through until it's completely dry. So I've kind of missed the opportunity, I think, to get it really soft and pliable. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's my first go at tanning a sheepskin. In some videos I've seen they get a sandpaper onto the back there and just make that a bit smoother and a bit nicer. But because it's not really that pliable, I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this sheepskin just yet. I've got 2 more to do and also a cowhide. So it was kind of my practice go, and it's really beautiful. I might trim some of this right down inside. You can see it's quite dark and it's been bleached by the sun on the outside. So I've got to decide what I'm going to do with it, and then decide whether I take off a little bit of this wool. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.